Sometimes the most powerful apologies are the ones that come after we finally grow up. And today, Kelly Ripa's tears weren't from pain. They were from a truth 24 years in the making. The headline, like a carefully crafted hook, does its job perfectly. Kelly Ripa in tears as daughter Lola, 24, sends heartfelt apologies to the family. It's a burst of digital emotion, a fusion of emoji and intrigue that demands a click. We imagine a dramatic scene, a confession perhaps, a public reckoning for a private wrong. But as with most things in the carefully curated yet surprisingly authentic world of Kelly Ripa and her family, the truth is far more nuanced, profoundly more beautiful, and speaks to a universal story that transcends celebrity gossip. This was not an apology born of scandal or transgression. It was not a response to a heated argument or a buried resentment. What unfolded was a moment of pure, unvarnished grace, a daughter's poignant reflection on the journey of growing up, and a mother's tearful acceptance of a love that had come full circle. To understand the weight of those tears is to understand the 24-year tapestry of love, worry, sacrifice, and unwavering faith that preceded them. A life lived in the spotlight's glare and a family's sanctuary. To appreciate the profundity of Lola's message, one must first understand the unique ecosystem in which the Consuelos family was built. Kelly Ripa was not just a mother. She was a morning television icon, a daily presence in millions of homes. Her marriage to Mark Consuelos, a cornerstone of stability and smoldering intensity, played out alongside his own successful career. Their three children, Michael, Lola, and Joaquin, were born into a world where paparazzi lenses were as common as family photo albums, and where public opinion was a constant, low-grade hum in the background of their lives. Kelly and Mark made a conscious, Herculean effort to build a fortress of normalcy around their children. They spoke of mundane parenting struggles, the chaos of school mornings, the challenges of technology, the eye rolls of teenagers, with a relatability that made them feel like neighbors, not stars. They were fiercely protective, shielding their children from the media as much as possible, especially during their formative years. This created a fascinating duality, a public family that cherished its privacy, a famous mother who fought to be seen first and foremost as mom. Lola, the middle child and only daughter, always possessed a distinct aura. From her early appearances on her mother's show, she was articulate, witty, and carried a creative, slightly rebellious spirit. She was the artist, the musician, the free thinker. As she navigated the treacherous waters of adolescence and young adulthood, her journey was, by her own later admissions, not always smooth. There were the typical struggles of identity, the pressure of having successful parents, and the unique burden of having every fashion choice, every offhand comment potentially scrutinized by the public. Kelly, on her show and in her podcast, Let's Talk Off Camera, has never shied away from expressing the visceral, often painful experience of motherhood. She spoke of the heartbreak of children growing up, not as a disappointment, but as a profound loss of their childhood selves. She chronicled the empty nest syndrome with raw honesty when Lola left for New York University, and later when her youngest, Joaquin, departed for college. Her tears were not for show. They were the genuine expression of a woman whose central purpose, the daily, hands-on nurturing of her children, was undergoing a seismic shift. This is the crucial backdrop. The apologies in the headline were not landing in a vacuum. They were landing in the heart of a mother who had lived every high and low with her daughter, who had worried through late nights, cheered at small victories, and likely bitten her tongue through phases of teenage defiance, all while the world watched. Deconstructing the apologies, a litany of love, not guilt. The word apologies in the headline is clever but misleading. It suggests a list of wrongs, a catalog of misdeeds for which forgiveness is being sought. What Lola delivered was something far more mature and insightful, a series of acknowledgments. It was a retrospective gaze on her own journey from the newfound perspective of her mid-20s, a time when the fog of adolescence clears and we begin to see our parents not as obstacles or authority figures, but as complex human beings who were simply doing their best. Let us imagine and expand upon the potential contents of this heartfelt message, piecing it together from the ethos of the family and the nature of such generational reflections. The apology for the unseen labor. Mom, Dad, I'm sorry for never truly seeing the sheer volume of work you did for us. I'm sorry for the thousands of packed lunches I took for granted, the forgotten permission slips you had to rush to school, the endless loads of laundry that magically appeared clean in my drawers. I thought that was just what parents did. I didn't realize it was a choice, an act of love performed daily without expectation of thanks. Now, trying to manage my own life, my own laundry, my own groceries, I see the mountain you moved every day, and I am in awe. This apology strikes at the very core of parental sacrifice. It's the recognition of the mundane, the tedious, the relentless nature of keeping a family afloat. For Kelly, hearing this would be an affirmation of 2 decades of often invisible effort. The tear it would provoke is one of validation, the feeling that the work, so often done in the shadows, was finally seen and valued. The apology for the teenage certainty. I'm sorry for every eye roll, every slammed door, every time I said, "You just don't understand," with the absolute conviction of a teenager who knows everything. I'm sorry for dismissing your advice about friends, about school, about life, thinking your experiences were from a prehistoric age. I see now that your no's were not meant to stifle me, but to protect me. Your warnings were not based on a lack of faith in me, but on a deep knowledge of the world's sharp edges. You did understand. You understood all too well, and I was too stubborn to listen. This is the universal language of parent conflict. For any parent who has felt the sting of their child's disdain, this apology is a balm. It signifies the child's cognitive shift into empathy. They can now look back and see the situation from the parent's perspective, the fear, the concern, the desperate desire to guide without controlling. Kelly's tears here would be tears of release, letting go of the memory of those painful moments, now reframed as a necessary, if difficult, part of the journey. The apology for the worry I caused. This one is a big one. I'm sorry for every late night I didn't call, for every time I was vague about my plans, for every risky decision I made that you probably sensed intuitively. I'm sorry for the sleepless nights I caused, for the knot in your stomach when I was out past curfew, for the silent prayers you sent up into the universe for my safety. I thought I was just living my life. I didn't realize the constant low-grade terror that is a part of a parent's operating system. I get it now, and the weight of that worry humbles me. This touches on the most primal nerve of parenthood: fear. A parent's love is inextricably linked with a constant background anxiety for their child's well-being. For a mother like Kelly, whose life is so public, this worry was likely magnified. To have her daughter not only acknowledge that worry, but express remorse for causing it, that is a profound gift. It shows a level of emotional intelligence and maturity that every parent is hope for their child. The apology for underestimating you. I'm sorry for not always seeing you as a whole person. For so long, you were just mom and dad, a role defined by its relationship to me. I'm sorry I didn't always appreciate the incredible individuals you are, your own struggles, your dreams, your life outside of being our parents. I see your career not just as my famous mom's job, but as a testament to your work ethic, your talent, and your resilience in a tough industry. I see your marriage as a partnership to be admired, not just as the structure of our family. I'm finally seeing you, and you are even more remarkable than I knew. This is perhaps the most transformative apology of all. It marks the transition of the parent-child relationship into an adult-to-adult friendship. It's the child finally granting their parents the humanity they always deserved. For a figure like Kelly Ripa, who has worked tirelessly to maintain her identity separate from her TV persona, to hear her daughter validate her not just as a mother, but as a person would be overwhelmingly powerful. It signifies that the foundation has been laid for a lifelong friendship. The tears, a cataract of accumulated emotion. So when Kelly Ripa wept upon receiving this message, what exactly were those tears composed of? They were not tears of sadness, but a complex saline solution of every emotion she had stored over 24 years of motherhood. Tears of validation. After years of doubting her choices, wondering if she was too strict or too lenient, if she was present enough, these words were the ultimate report card. It was an A+ in unconditional love. Tears of relief. The relief that the difficult phases were over, that the seeds of values and love she and Mark had planted had not only taken root, but were now flourishing. The relief that her daughter had emerged from the storm of youth as a compassionate, self-aware, and wonderful human being. Tears of completion. This moment represented a closing of a loop. The intense, hands-on phase of active parenting was complete. The job was done, and it had been done well. The child had not only survived, but thrived, and was now looking back with gratitude.